All right, let's get right into it. The St. Louis Rapid Blitz, it's not just any tournament. This thing is a real pressure cooker, a key stop on the Grand Chess Tour where you see legends just battle it out. It's a massive test of skill, sure, but also of nerve. And as we're about to find out, some unbelievable psychological toughness.
And this quote from Grandmaster Peter Svidler, man, it really hits the nail on the head for what we're about to see. Because at this level of chess, it's just as much about keeping your head straight as it is about playing the right moves. A lesson that, wow, would define this whole event in the most dramatic way you can imagine.
So, our story kicks off with the player who is in absolutely scorching form, the American superstar Fabiano Caruana. In the first half of the tournament, the 3 days of rapid chess, he wasn't just playing well, he was on another planet. The level he was playing at was it was breathtaking.
Check out this number, 14 out of a possible 18 points. That's not just winning, that is sheer dominance. After that rapid section, Fabi was playing with a kind of precision and power that just left his opponents, all legends in their own right, completely in the dust.
Yeah, the commentary team wasn't just talking about him winning the tournament anymore. They were talking about history. The buzz was that Fabi was chasing records. He was on a pace that only someone like Magnus Carlsen had ever matched, on track for one of the most incredible performances the Grand Chess Tour had ever seen.
So as we're switching from the slower, more thoughtful pace of Rapid to the pure, high-speed chaos of Blitz, Fabiano Caruana wasn't just the favorite. I mean, he looked like a lock. It felt like a sure thing he was just going to cruise to victory.
And here's the thing about Blitz chess. It is brutal. You have just a few minutes on the clock for the entire game. And all that careful precision, it can just give way to panic. A huge, commanding lead can literally vanish in the blink of an eye. And for Fabi, that blink was about to turn into a complete nightmare.
What happened next was, honestly, one of the most shocking reversals we've seen in chess in a long, long time. The first day of Blitz, it wasn't just a bad day at the office for Caruana. It was a total, complete collapse. A full-on tilt that sent shockwaves through the entire chess world.
The difference was it was staggering. It was like watching two totally different players. The guy who seemed untouchable for 3 solid days suddenly he looked vulnerable. The moves that were once perfect were suddenly filled with mistakes. The unstoppable force had somehow just completely unraveled.
0. In 9 games of Blitz on day 4, Fabiano Caruana won exactly 0 times. Not one win. For a player of his caliber, on a stage this big, that's a statistic that's almost impossible to believe. It was just a perfect storm of bad positions, terrible luck, and just crushing pressure.
And just like that, poof, the entire tournament got turned on its head. That huge, historic, record-breaking lead, it was gone. The race for the title was suddenly wide open, and there was one player who was in the perfect spot to take advantage of all this chaos.
Right, so as Fabi was faltering, the legendarily cool and steady Levon Aronian was just quietly making his move. While some other players were chasing flashy wins, Aronian was just relying on his deep experience and his knack for seeing an opportunity. And boy, did it start to pay off.
You want to know what makes Aronian so dangerous? Look no further than this game against Nodirbek Abdusattorov. He makes this awful blunder, a touch move error where he has to move a piece he didn't want to, and he's just down a clean pawn for nothing. Most players would crumble there, but Aronian, the commentators call him slippery for a reason. He defended like his life depended on it and somehow miraculously escaped with a draw.
His opponent's reaction, which the commentators picked up on, just said it all. It was pure disbelief. It's like, what just happened? I gave you a free pawn. Aronian had just stolen half a point from a totally lost position, and that crucial save kept his momentum going while his biggest rival was just spinning out.
Of course, it all came down to this, the head-to-head showdown. You have Caruana just desperate to stop the bleeding, and he's facing an Aronian who is surging with confidence. And in a masterful game, Aronian just completely outplayed him, basically crushing any last hope of a comeback and taking firm control of the whole tournament.
So with his biggest rival taken care of, the path was finally clear. Levon Aronian, who had been trailing for the entire event, was now right on the verge of a really remarkable victory, capping off one of the most incredible turnarounds of the whole season.
And he didn't just stumble across the finish line either, he slammed the door shut. Aronian secured the tournament win with a calm draw, clinching the title with 2 full rounds left to play. No drama, no stress, just pure class.
So when the dust finally settled, this was our podium. Levon Aronian, the very deserved champion,
And you have to give immense credit to Fabiano Caruana, who managed to steady the ship enough to hold on for a really hard-fought second place, with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave rounding out the top 3.
This chart really tells the whole story, doesn't it? It truly was a tale of two fortunes. You can see Caruana's explosive start in the rapid section, but it was Aronian's consistent, relentless march through the blitz that ended up winning the day. In the end, it was those steady nerves under the fastest time controls that made all the difference.
So this result completely shakes up the standings for the Grand Chess Tour. The final event, the classical Sinquefield Cup, is up next. So the big question is, who's carrying the momentum from this absolutely chaotic week? Is it Aronian riding high on this huge victory, or will Caruana's devastating blitz performance linger, as they all fight for a spot in the finals? We'll have to see.